Dan Lutz, and I'm here on the front lines all by myself. Tank is caught up on another call. I told him I'd go ahead and start, and he'll join in when he gets done. So we'll, tackle the front lines, against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminati, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons, all by ourselves to start. So I think why don't we go to QAnon, our Q post, or qmap.pub, and we'll go from there. Let's see. So we kind of left off around here. Let's see, is that right? No, not a little bit down here. Oh yes, when the reporter asked Trump, "Do you know who Anonymous is?" POTUS says, "I don't want to say, but you'd be surprised." But where this part right here, that you'd be surprised part, was something that he said in the past, probably, I would guess, a year ago, where he was asked before, and he said you'd be surprised. So there is a theme to this. So there's been this drumbeat, from the Anon saying, well, when are they going to ask the question? When are they going to ask the question? And Trump is still, teasing, right? Making the big Q symbols in the air, and it really is a marvelous way to bring out information. So let's see where we go from here. We'll go to 3856. The lines are drawn between the patriots and the traitors. Let's see what this says. So this is a post from the 21st, so on 2018. So it's February 21st, 2018. Let's say 2 in brackets, patriot. So 2 patriots, not sure. Okay, number 1, or 2 definitions. Maybe that's what it is. A person who loves, supports, and defends his or her country and its interest with devotion. Number 2, a person who regards himself or herself as a defender, especially of individual rights against the presumed interference by the federal government. Traitor, okay, the first definition, a person who betrays another, a cause or a trust. Or a person who commits treason by betraying his or her country. So I think we're really talking about, the second one here, betrayal of country. The lines are drawn, and then there's a strange number here. Now this does take you to an SEC document. I was just looking it up and looking into it, but we'll just see how that unfolds. We'll let others do some more digging and reveal what that is. And then they talk about the standard definition of renegade, define renegade, right? The standard definition. So it's also someone who is a traitor. A renegade is a traitor. It's someone that was within your group and is now running amok, right? Is now going against the grain, going against their group. It's a renegade. And that was Hussein and the Membrane's secret service code name. So that's the standard definition. So then define evergreen. So HRC, which is Hillary, and then that's her secret service name. So what's the non-standard definition? Think depopulation when you think about this. So I would say, from what I've picked up, is this ties around to funding sources, evergreen funding source, meaning that it is a clause in a contract that allows for the continued payments of things to continue on, almost like like an insurance policy that's paying out, right? It just continues to pay out. So, in regards to depopulation, this is tying back to vaccines. and how these funding sources are continuing to fund the pumping out of this concept of vaccine. So does it bring up our new highlighted virus, the one that wears a crown on its head, the one that's creating a bunch of fear? Now, are there deaths? Definitely. We have no idea what the truth is behind it because it's in China. We know what's happened outside of China, but all in all, we do not know. We've heard some, things where we know that there is a cure. I'm highly suspicious of the cure because it's about depopulation. Is it really about the virus itself, which is only killing 2 out of 10? I'm sorry, 2 out of 100? And that a normal flu is 1 out of 100, and those are normally the elderly. So, a flu is no joke. You need to take care of yourself, right? But is this really something that we should worry about the flu per se? As like that is, we need to run and take the inoculation, take the vaccine as soon as it's available. It seems a bit suspicious to me. So anyway, that's where I think that is where that's going. So the silent wars continue. Yeah. So we're in the war. So realize this: when the fear porn comes at you, it's all around you. Fear, fear, fear. You gotta wonder why. Why is this coming out right now? So let me actually do a little move this screen around for a second. Let me change how I'm doing things here. Just 1 second. I started doing this other way of doing another type of layout of this, and I thought it might be a good time to redo that. Yeah, I think that might be better. Then I feel like I'm talking to you flip the screen. There we go. So where did we leave off? So this is where we were left. So yeah, think depopulation. So anyway, that's what I picked up. Basically this was this general theme was coming from In Pursuit of Truth. He does some really great investigations and comes up with, I think, pretty relevant. So a lot of things about shipping containers and things that we thought had to do with human trafficking. But when we think depopulation, they're not going to be depopulating in a massive scale with the human trafficking. I don't think that's it, right? But when we start talking about where they've announced their plan, Bill Gates is out there, saying we're going to depopulate by way of vaccines. What does that mean? What does that mean? You take the vaccine and you die? Well, not too many people are going to take the vaccine then, right? But you take the vaccine because you're afraid of dying. So what would be the way to depopulate is if you were then sterilized by the vaccine. So, and we have seen that there's some traces back to the Gates Foundation. And, he's the one that's saying, hey, we're going to depopulate by vaccines. Now we have this coming up, and we're talking about Define Evergreen. And that is Hillary's code name. But Evergreen also is referring to evergreen money. Always green, always the money's flowing. All right, let's move on. Ask yourself, what are the coordinated attacks on both, ask yourself, why are there coordinated attacks on both 8, Kun, and Q? So yes, well, we already know that they don't want to talk about Q, even though, we had that one reporter ask, who's anonymous? Didn't ask who is QAnon, did they? Or who's Q? So one reporter was getting a little feisty. So it's kind of a crack in the dam, right? one reporter ventured off the ranch and asked a forbidden question in another way. I didn't ask about QAnon, I just asked about Anonymous. And Trump gave the same answer, relatively, as he did a year ago. So they're not ready to reveal. And it may be that they never reveal who QAnon is. Think about that. So let's see. So highly sophisticated state level attacks against 8kun, followed by fake news attacks on cue the next day, coordinated. Ask yourself a simple question: why? It's time to wake up. Why? It's because they know it is coming right now. It is coming now. The indictments, the declass, all of this is coming out. They're going to reveal indictments, and they're going to arrest people. It's going to happen. And it may be, since Barr, and this comes from X22, he floated out this idea. Barr said he's going to go to the Judicial Committee under Nadler, and because he's agreed. Nadler said, "I want you to come here, and you're going to have to answer for these things." Right? So Barr pushed him off a bit, right? But the end of March. So if Barr is setting his time as when he's going to be there, not waiting for subpoenas and I'm going to come on this day. So Durham report is supposed to be very close to coming out. Some even said that the Durham report would come out in March, April, in the spring. I see Tank has joined us. So
good evening.
Good evening. I was just talking about, the Q post 3857. Ask yourself why these are coordinated attacks are on both 8kun and Q, right? And so I was saying, because they know that it's about ready to happen, the arrests, and they're trying to discredit Q, and they're trying to discredit, all the information that's going to be coming out. And I was pointing out that Barr has agreed to go to meet with Nadler at the Judicial Committee at the end of March. And the Durham report is also supposed to be coming out. It said March and April, so kind of like the time frames we were given months ago. So he said the spring. So if this is if Durham comes out, say, the week before, we have Barr on Capitol Hill to talk with Nadler, and on camera, everyone's going to be watching this, right? And he's got all of this stuff that just got dumped on by Durham. All this stuff comes out. Then Barr's there on camera, can talk about all the stuff that they're bringing out now. So I think that's pretty heavy. I don't know why they would be coming out with this stuff. I think Tank might not quite be there right now, so let's move on. This is the Great Awakening. Okay, 3858, February 13th. It's a redrop. All right. So what happens when 90% of the media is controlled and owned by 6 corporations? What happens when those same corporations are operated and controlled by a political ideology? What happens when the news is no longer free from bias? What happens when the news is no longer reliable and independent? What happens when news is no longer trustworthy? What happens when news simply is an extension arm of a political body? Facts become fiction, fiction becomes fact. When does the news become propaganda? Identity creation. Let's stop for a moment before we'll stop here. So when all of those things happen to the news, we no longer have news. We have only propaganda. We lost Tank. So when you have only propaganda and you have one side of the political system, you have tyranny. In essence, they were ruling as the cabal, the deep state, the Illuminatis. They were basically doing whatever they wanted with the press covering for them. The big piggy bank, like look what happened in Ukraine. And it didn't, Ukraine's not the only place. That's just the one place where there was this Russian collusion started, that because they brought it out, it was now highlighted by the impeachment, by the perfect phone call. All right, let's continue here. Identity creation. So what is identity creation? So what identity are they creating? Right there, it's controlling the narrative. But what about identity? Well, maybe it's the calling of the names. You're a racist. By just naming things. Maybe that's what it's referring to. Okay, how does the average person who is under constant financial stress by design find time to research and discern fact from fiction? Can't, right? Actually, our government system was set up, so we have representatives to take care of these things for us. You feel represented? Not really. Majority of the people are more prone to believe someone in power sitting behind a big brand news name. Right? Yeah, so we got a big brand news name. The talking heads just continue to go out. I like Thomas Williams calls them the portal people. Right? Hey, here's a portal right here. This is a portal. So I'm a portal person. I've been consumed by the portal people. All right. The majority of people are more prone to believe someone, right, that is in power sitting behind a big branding news name. So do people, human psyche, tend to follow the majority mainstream viewpoint in fear of being isolated or shunned? Oh, you don't go along with them, right? There must be something wrong with you. Are you a conspiracy theorist? Come on, it's so obvious that we're telling you what the truth is. Mainstream is used for a reason. Dominant, trend, and opinion. So they're basically feeding us what they want us to know, right? What they want us to think, the way they want us to act. Okay, if the majority of people believe X, then X must be valid / true, correct? Because you heard it on this news channel, you heard it on this newspaper, and you saw it in this magazine, and you heard it on the radio, and all of the same people keep all repeating the same thing. So it must be true, right? Wrong. When they're controlled by a very limited group, and it's an intentional plan to control the people, then you can't know exactly what's true. Except that if everyone's repeating the same thing, then you know there must be a problem. That's the great thing about alternative media. We're all over the place.
That's right.
We're just trying to find out what's true, right?
Yeah. The plan is no plan.
Yeah. You don't know when someone is going to pop up and start, changing the direction of the broadcast. That's okay though. Yeah, so.
Man, I'm sorry I missed what you were saying about. Sorry, I cut up my phone died.
That's okay. I was talking about Barr and his coming in at the end of March, scheduled. He told Nadler, because Nadler says, "Oh, we want you to come in." Right? He said, "Okay, I'll come in the end of March." The 31st, I think, is the date. So he's going to come in the end of March, but Durham report is supposed to come out, right? Within these indictments will come with it. This is a criminal investigation. It's going to be revealed. So he could dump all of this like the day before Barr gets out there, right? And Barr goes right into Nadler and says, "Okay, let me tell you about what's all going on here," in front of all the cameras, right? Busted again, big boom, and Nadler just goes white again and folds and goes under the table.
Yeah, the whole sham is about to be brought down. I think I asked Kim about money moving at the end of the week.
Okay.
Like we discussed.
Yes.
And her response to me was, "Yeah, and I'm Santa Claus, and my unicorn is about to start blanking money as well." That was her response. And then she went on to tell me that last night that that all the gold depositories were basically, there was attempts made, I guess, to steal that money or to hack them, including Belgium, Switzerland, the Philippines, the Federal Reserve. I forget the other ones, but maybe New Zealand, but all of them, all the major gold reserves in the world, where all the bunkers, the assets have been moved out of, but I guess there's still gold reserves, and all of them, they tried to hack them to access them, probably to move money, like was said, because they can't just move money the way they did before, right? Mm-hmm. So they were all hacked last night. They all tried to attempt to do that again last night.
So, well, see, they attempted to move the money at the end of the week.
Right. Without question, yeah. That's exactly what they do. Yeah, they attempt to move money, and they don't have access. And again, we're here waiting. So, I'm not sure exactly what the final deadline is in Kim's agenda or her schedule, but I know that she did say that pretty much we shouldn't be waiting on them at all. So I'm not sure what she would be waiting for. But other than this week, I really thought that we were going to actually see some arrests.
Yeah, I think it's probably coming, but I think that it's with this pushing out by Barr to the end of March, it kind of makes sense that this would be like the way to really move yourself in. This came from X-22, right? He was reporting on a basis saying that he proposed this idea that the Durham report would come out, and then boom, they set him up for another trap, right? Because now Nadler's demanding that he go there. So sure, I'll go on this date.
Yeah, it's amazing how much the Democrats just keep shooting themselves in the foot, like over again. Yeah, it's like they're. I can't tell if they're doing it on purpose because this is their deal, or what. I mean, part of me is like, how can you be this dumb? Like, just constantly feed them. It's like they're queuing them up with a lob pitch, and they just keep hitting home runs.
Right.
So.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna change my background. I realize my shirt is more like it's a Hawaiian shirt, so I should figure put a different background that kind of matches.
Perfect.
For me, it's Valentine's Day, so I have plans to take my wife out. So we're gonna go, and she loves this shirt, so I put it on.
That's nice. That's nice. I feel like, hey, love is in the air, right? Valentine's Day, like, there's ever a time for things to change. Why not have it coincide with, a day dedicated to love?
So, I actually proposed to my wife on Valentine's Day in Hong Kong Harbor on a boat while all of the fireworks were going off.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Valentine's Day, this is a true story. Actually, when my daughter was being born, right, I was kind of indifferent. Like my sons, I prophesied about my sons. I loved them so much. And we were expecting Charlotte. We didn't know the due date yet, and I was kind of indifferent, and I got scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have this child and not have enough love, right, for this child. So I prayed about it, right? I prayed, I was like, God, please give me enough love for this little girl, right? And the next day,
I hear God laughing.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Well, now it seems laughable, but the next day, we went to the doctor, and we found out that my daughter would be born on Valentine's Day. Her due date was Valentine's Day. So I felt like that was God answering my prayer. He let me know,
Here, you need a little extra love. Here, okay, here you go. So
yeah, now I'm like, now that I have her, I'm just like, my God, that's ridiculous. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine life without her.
Yeah. Well, I remember my son and my daughter would play. Kind of almost made this into like a game over the years. It got rehashed a few times. Which one do you love more? Do you love me or do you love the other? Right? And I say, I love you both infinitely and differently.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. My kids compete for that all the time. I don't ever give them the satisfaction. But both my sons, they say, we all know Charlotte's the favorite. They always do.
Well, I play some games with them and say, okay, let me start making a list, right? What did you do? Oh yeah, you did this, and oh yeah, you did that, right? Oh yeah, and I make a list. Oh yeah, I love you each infinitely, right? So I was like, I couldn't catch me on that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Love my kids. Yeah, man. So, what else? I don't even know what happened to me today. I was so busy with other things. I actually got taken out by some stuff. Anything exciting happening?
Well, I think on the Flynn case, one thing I picked up was pretty interesting. Now we know what his lie was. Came out. Dan Bongino went through it. So Flynn's original attorneys, which are the same attorneys who have hired also Eric Holder as like one of so the same law firm has Eric Holder as like one of the main lawyers, I guess you're a partner, right? No conflict in there. Also, had brought him a document to sign. It's basically a fill out, and they said, here, you need to fill this out. Say that you were registered as a foreign agent for another country doing work for them, and it was, in this case, it was Turkey, right? And you need to fill out this form, and so they told him how to fill it out. Yeah. This is the basis of why he was accused of lying, as what was put on that form, which the attorneys told him how to fill out.
Wow.
Right. So, his new attorney, okay, is Powell, I think is her name, is basically this is grounds for a mistrial.
Absolutely.
Right. Because and then their defense that law firm that told him how to fill it out is now defending him against the charges of a lie about this form being filled out, which they told him how to do. So there's a complete conflict of interest.
So wait, the law firm they told him how to fill it out wrong.
Right.
Is defending him, suing themselves, and what are they doing?
So defending him because they said it's a lie, right? So that's the basis of him lying to the FBI, was this form that was filled out, or lying to Congress, or lying to the FBI. So this was the basis of why, right? Is because of this foreign agent status form that they had him fill out, retroactively.
Right.
And it was about Turkey, which he really didn't need to do because he was a private citizen at the time, and it was just a contract that was given. It wasn't representing them to the U.S. government, right? But they said, oh, you should do this anyway, right? Just to cover yourself, and that was the basis for which they actually got him. So complete farce, right? So
never trust a lawyer who tells you you're doing something just to cover yourself.
Yeah. So and then the other, of course, is Roger Stone, right? And what's happening there is also another sham, where they caught him on, whatever his lie to the FBI was, it was again something that was contrived. It was set up, right? It was a trap.
Right.
They create these traps. So the good thing is that all these obstruction traps that were set up by the Mueller gang, this was part of it, right? These things that they did to General Flynn and to Roger Stone had specifically to do to create these traps for Trump to fall into. There was no Russian collusion. They were just setting up the traps for him to walk into to do obstruction of justice. Right? And that's what they were going to get him on in the impeachment. But of course, it failed.
All this stuff is just, it's like these gangs of inside the government that just keep, they're blatantly guilty. Like, you see absolute horrifying crimes being committed right in front of you, right? Like, they go after the president with just completely false data. I mean, Adam Schiff lied to everyone, and everyone's doing it, right? Hillary Clinton lies under oath. Like, they have all types of things against the president, and they say, well, it's okay for them because, they were the president, or Joe Biden was the vice president. And it's like, no, that's why it's wrong, actually. Right? That's because you're actually going after the president now, acting appalled every day. Can you believe this tyrant? It's like, oh my God, I just want to be and shut them down. Like, I want them to suffer the absolute obscurity that the rest of us have had to suffer.
Well, it's because they've had the press behind them, right? And I think that Joe Scarborough, I caught something that he had said on one of these shows. So, don't you think that Trump is going to be able to arrest, me, or arrest you, or the people on the Washington Times, or
Chuck Schumer said that. Yeah.
Well, this is Joe Scarborough said this. Right? I heard Chuck Schumer say it too. Yeah, but
I heard that's the new company line.
I'm saying that this is panic. This is, hey, look, if we don't stop Trump, he's going to be arresting me and everyone else here around him because we're the ones that are in opposition to him, right? Because he's the dictator, right? This is what he's putting out there because this is what's on their mind. Right.
Not that he's going to arrest you because you're criminals.
Yeah. So I think that this is telling the tale. That 75% of these indictments are for the media. And going back in history, when there was these tumultuous times in where there was a war. The president did arrest the people of the press. The American president arrested the press because of the wartime situation that was going on. Happened 3 times in the past. So like Lincoln, he arrested the people in the press, right? Because they were against the government, right? Against him, right?
Right.
So he said, listen, you guys are enemy collaborators, right? You're part of it.
Right.
Well, is it not true that they're part of it? That they are it? They're in cahoots with one political party that is continuing sending out impeachment. We got to get rid of him. They're panicking. Oh, look at all the evidence that they're the ones that did all this stealing of the money. They got rich while everyone else got poor. Controlled, what they called that? Was a controlled, I don't say demolition, but it's pretty much a destroying the country They decelerated the growth, and while we were in controlled decline, that's what it was. It was a controlled decline that they had planned out in order for them to go ahead and continue to be rich while America disappeared and they became the masters, right? They were going to, have different sections of the country that they all ruled over. They'd have their own kingdoms.
That's very true. It's amazing. I don't know how this goes forward and ever really comes to a close because they're so belligerent. If that stuff doesn't come out, because it's almost like right now, I feel like they're right on the cusp of being like, where someone's like really racist, right? But they won't say like, the N word. And finally you just keep provoking them until they say it. and then you're like, I knew it. It's like, I feel like that's how they are. Like they're.
Well, it's just funny. I love Dinesh D'Souza, right? And he's giving speeches and he's talking about. So I just heard him today. He's doing the Q&A in the end. There's a guy that stands up, and he basically talks about the Jews are the ones that are the problems in the world, right? So it's like a setup question, right? They want him to fall into it, right? And say something against. And he says, and Dinesh says, it's a stupid question, right? There's nothing to do with it. There are some, basically, he was saying, basically the elite people in the world who think they're better than everyone else, who have conspired to control everything and steal everything from everyone else. And really just shut that guy down, right?
Wow, good answer.
Yeah. So, and so it's this elite people out there that are not elite, but they consider themselves so much superior. And one other thing, he was making a point. This is against socialism and for capitalism. And he was basically saying this: that the people that don't know how entrepreneurs work, right? But they're smart people that are good with writing words, and they're in the press or they're in the media. They don't understand entrepreneurs, and they're jealous of them because they get so much more, right, from their abilities, right, because they're able to create things. But they don't understand how that works. They don't understand how to create something. And because of that, they look at the socialism as their way to get power and have more than the capitalists. So it's just about that they want to have what the capitalists have, but they're going to take it away from everybody. Right?
Wow.
And I thought it was a wonderful point.
I think it's a beautiful point. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like, I see value in all types of abilities, right? And I think there's so much more than enough to go around. When you look at the Iron Mountain agenda, one of the things that's very specific and almost paramount to the whole discussion is we live in a war society. Now, war is by nature wasteful, right? You're destroying whole areas that have to be rebuilt. And what their conclusion is that people are by nature lazy, right? They're unmotivated. And they use, communism and socialism as like kind of examples. Like, look, less is created, less is accomplished because everyone has the same. Well, but the reality is that no one is motivated to do anything because there's no way to get ahead, right?
Well, it's good. No, it's not. It's even more crazy than that. They're always waiting in line for toilet paper, so they don't have time to create business.
Right. Like there's no time to. Well, and what's the benefit, right?
Yeah, what's the benefit?
You made $1 million this month. Well, here's your, $1,000 that you're allowed to have. We'll take the rest.
Well, this woman stood up in this with Dinesh, right? And she said, "I'm from Vietnam, a communist country." And she said, when the communists first came in, they said, "We're going to take care of you." And they had a fishing villages, and they said every day they went out and they fished. They came home, they had food for their family, and they sold the rest, and then they had money. The communists came in, and they said, "We're going to take care of you now. So now after that, they turned over all their fish to the communists. All right, they were starving. Every day they get robbed of all of their fish. They weren't even able to keep it for themselves. They were starving. And the one that complained, right? They brought everyone out into the middle of the town, and they buried him alive to show that that's the example they make of someone who basically complains.
Wow, that is a real story with a lot of symbolism that's very, very relevant, right?
Yeah, so this is what happens when you have communism and socialism. It's the same thing. You know, the only difference is that socialism, they don't have the direct dictator yet, right? They always pretend that there's a democracy that allows you to really have a say. When you don't have a say, it's just an illusion. The only difference is that one is a dictatorship outright, and the other is a dictatorship that you think you're in a democracy.
You know, there's something you said too about like the freedom to make good or bad decisions, right? And have the consequences not be devastating, right? Like you're not buried alive. Like, I mean, there's something you said about that kind of a world, right? Because if you live in a place where every word you say, like, and it's amazing how they're trying to do this, right? They have this incredible double standard, which is very obvious, right? They want to ban Trump from having a Twitter account. Like, who the hell do you think? Now you're so arrogant that you think that you can censor everyone, that you'll even take it a step further to see what the buy-in is if you censor the president. Why?
Can you imagine they did that, and the next day, Trump goes on the air, does a broadcast, right, and says, "I've opened up a Gab account, and here's it at real Trump, Donald Trump at gab.com."
Yeah.
In one day, 40 million people.
You know, flood Gab, right? Well, it's so crazy. It's like, first of all, why is that okay? But you guys can say horrible, I mean, hate-filled statements, whole episodes, networks dedicated to taking jabs at the president, right? And he just takes it. You know, he takes it and he makes his occasional comment, right? And you know what? It's amazing. The more they jab him, I just feel like it's almost like they're jabbing him and he gets stronger and his family gets better looking and, you know, everybody does that.
Yeah, he's younger. Every day he gets younger and they get older.
He's the first president in history to make it this far in his presidency and actually look younger and healthier. I've never seen it happen. They always look.
Yep. They always get old really quick. You know, after the first day, their hair turns white.
Oh yeah, I mean they look aged. Yeah, very bad. It's stressful. So,
yeah, but you know, Trump. It's like this was also a description I saw. Okay, Trump is like a pig, right? And he's great at messing around in the mud. You know, mud wrestling, right? So he likes it, right? But everyone's gonna get dirty.
Yeah. Well, that's what, you know, it's funny when they attack him for like, this is against the presidential norm. Well, what happens when you idiots go out completely out of the box of, you know, lawful norms, right, altogether? And like, it's like, thank God he's doing things against the presidential norm. Here's some things that were the presidential norm. You would bow and submit to one of the Rothschilds as you serviced them, right? That was normal for the presidents, right? George W. Bush came out and said he doesn't know what it means to be president. I know, because George W. Bush thought it meant to be Rothschild's bitch. I mean, and Trump, he'll have no part of that. He's not going to play that part. He said, no, I'm not going to be. And think about what he's done. He somehow managed to carve out a niche outside of the order when most people get crushed by it, right? Yeah. Like, that's pretty phenomenal. Like, so he had to really, you know, like, walk the line there, you know, it's a fine line, I'm sure, right, to be able to do that. And I'm sure they screw him out of all types of things, right? He just keeps coming back. So I'm sure they hate him. And he's like, oh, he's been bankrupt all these times. Like, yeah, you guys probably did something awful. And then he came back. And I mean, actually, like, I look at it now, being more involved in the banking, I'm like, I want to know, how do you do it? It's amazing, you know.
Yeah. Well, people like to point out, well, he got a loan from the Rothschilds. Well, who else are you going to get a loan from? They own all the banks.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, okay, yeah, so
And
everybody does.
right, he also breathes air, and when he underneath his clothes, he's naked. Like those aren't really.
Well, he does have an interesting tattoo on his chest.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it's a big letter S.
For Stephen?
No,
Oh,
Superman.
When I was a kid, my parents told me to ask. I was in Superman's chest was for Stephen.
Oh, okay, I get it now. Yeah, yeah. In that case, or maybe it's a big letter T.
Yeah, man. Tank of America.
You got it both ways. Okay, all
right. Tank of America is going to be the next banking structure I launch.
Well,
yeah, man.
Well,
but I don't know. I don't know if you feel good. I feel like we're doing a lot of. I think we're about to, again they go and hack the gold reserves. I don't know what today looks like. What happens today? Are they all freaking out? You know, I didn't even catch Tommy's intel, so I don't even know.
No, I don't know. I don't know what happened. That's the first I heard anything. I haven't seen anything else about, hacked reserves. I did speak with someone this morning here in the Philippines. That now that you say that, I think he was kind of probing me to find out if I knew anything.
Call up.
I will.
You're like, I know everything, man. I know exactly what happened.
Well, he didn't let on. It's only after you said that, and I'm thinking back in that conversation. It's like he knew something. He was just trying to see if I knew something.
Well, you know what's interesting too? X-22. He definitely. I mean, I'm very impressed with his knowledge, and he did say he's like, "There's a new financial system, and they're prepping it up, they're keying it up," and he was talking about it, and I'm like, I wonder if he knows it's the Kim's system, like, but he definitely knows some stuff's about to go down, yeah, and it makes me wonder, and he's right. It's all about the central banking system the way it used to be, and what it's about to be, because even the way he describes it, he talks about like where the money is controlled by the people, right? So if you were to centralize, and say it all has to go through one source, versus decentralized, where everyone is their own source. Like once you have money in your account, it's like you're the only one that can access it and move it and do whatever. Like you don't even need a bank, right?
Yeah.
So actually, I thought, I mean, he's really on it though. I'm very impressed with the way he's talking about things. And I've gotten into him because of you.
Yeah, the three that I always catch almost every day are X22, iPot, and Dan Bongino. That covers about everything. The rest of it doesn't really matter. Occasionally I get SGT report, and we know, which is also good. They come out less often. The others are daily. Daily programs actually fill a big role in this. I think we really need to focus on building out our own network, and I think that we really have to build this on another platform. We can.
Yeah.
I think we need to be live on the other platforms, and then we can send back over to here some highlights, 5-minute and 10-minute pieces, right? And direct everyone back over to the other one. I think that's really, that we need to build that up. I mean, how many shows are there already here? I mean, Lisa, what Lisa's doing in the Falafel America, and the veterans, the militia. All of these are, could be different shows that could be, scheduled, at times, or be, free floating. In this age, it can be free floating as well. And then just build up that other channel, build it up on a website so we can collect the data, because we don't know who's seeing things on other. We have no direct access to them. Channel everyone back through Telegram, for for communication because we know that will remain. Can't rely on email. So I think that we could literally end up within the next 6 months, we could have 100,000 people, at least.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think it's time to, we realize now. It's like I even organize things on the Speak project a little better. That we have like live broadcasts and old things that are popular and things like that. But you're right. Like the whole goal is always to have 24/7, kind of constant broadcasting going, and have it available, like for people just to see. I do think that's one of the greatest things about YouTube. You come back and look at it again. But I think we can do that. I think there's a lot of things to talk about. We have access to a lot of really incredible health technologies. I mean,
Yeah.
you have access to things that we can just put out shows and talk about and just blow people's minds. We started this, like the Sleep Project, we just wanted to talk about different projects. I mean, we have a bunch of shows from Speed Pro Radio where we were just talking to amazing private owners doing great things, right?
Yeah.
And I've held back on some of these guys because I don't want to get them killed, to be honest. I haven't put them out there. I mean, I know guys who mastered Tesla's energy and advanced it, and they can bury a couple things in the ground and power everything. It's amazing, I know guys who have air purification devices. They tested it in these massive warehouses down in Texas. They filled it up with air so toxic that if you walked in the warehouse, you would have been dead in 7 seconds. Right? Air so filthy that it was like that. And they tested it before they put the poison. Then they poisoned the air. Then they ran this machine for 15 minutes. At 7 minutes, the air was already more pure than it was before they started. It's freaking incredible. And there was no exhaust anywhere. It didn't leave.
Well, I spoke to someone 2 or 3 days ago, and he said that they're building a flying saucer, an anti-gravity machine, Tesla technology. They need $2.5 million to complete it. And then, do I know anyone? I said, well, maybe next week.
Yeah. Well, let me be clear. Will I get one? I will make sure. I want the first model flying saucer, and I'd like it called the tank saucer, something like that. So make it hot.
Yeah, I don't know about tank saucer. That just doesn't.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
We gotta work on that one. Yeah.
But I still want one. I want to be able to just zip around before there's any laws on it. It's like you can't tell me what to do. There's no laws about anti-gravitational technology. I'm not flying. I'm not anything. I'm just am.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
I'm actually just floating, and the world is passing by me.
Yeah. What
No
can you
flying.
say, right? No weapons. It's like Rick and Morty. Perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot we can do, and I am very, very grateful to be part of this movement. I do get very frustrated when I think about all the things I don't know still. Like I want to know. I want to know more. I want to understand things better. I want to do better. I want to be a better father. Better man. Better creator in every way. So that to me sometimes the limitations I guess we put on ourselves. I'm always trying to go past those limits, but not always successful. So I'm working on it.
Yeah, well, I think this is really something we should focus on doing and building it up this way to get these constant shows. But again, we can't do it. I'm looking at my numbers again. Now I'm making I'm gaining two a day, like on clockwork of it, because I was complaining for so long, right? So they upped it to 2 a day. Right, hoping that would be satisfactory for me. Two new subscribers a day, with still the same, sine wave of people coming in and leaving, coming in and leaving, coming in and leaving. It's just so ridiculous, it's like it's obvious it's a controlled algorithm. So it doesn't matter how many people join; they're only going to show 2 arriving every day, maybe 3.
Yeah, they let us. They couldn't stop us for a minute there, and then they balanced us back out, and I saw the numbers go down. So I was like, oh, you took us back down. So I knew right away. And I was going to check it, but I was like, I saw it starting to grow because we were just doing these quick live shows, and they exploded, right? And we launched Lawful America. But it's interesting. I actually watched this in some analytics from one of my friends who was showing me how how it works in sales, and how they're the largest volume in the country. They've sold so much, killed it. But the higher they go in sales, the less each sale is worth. So they never really make more than anybody else.
Yeah.
So if you sell more, it doesn't really help you. I just kind of feel that's the common practice, right? Keep you governed at a certain level. That's you.
Same thing. When I actually built a company with a partner using Google AdWords. All right, we're selling one particular product. It doesn't matter the product, but the AdWords is designed to continue to cost you more to advertise so that you could get that top spot. When you go to when you search for something on Google, you always hit the first spot. I mean, maybe you go to the second and third if you go back and forth, right? So it's the top 3 spots. It's the first spot. And if you're selling something, if someone gets that first spot, they're going to make the sale most of the time, right? So you have to now outbid the other Google AdWords competitor for that same word when they're searching on that word. So it will keep ratcheting up the cost of advertising until you don't make any money.
Right.
I've seen it happen, right? And even twice actually, with a different product, the same thing happened. So I said, listen, we can't do Google AdWords because all it's going to do is really just, you're going to pay, and you're going to end up paying more and more until you're not making enough money to keep actually in business.
Right.
Right. And that's when I was making fun of them way back then. This was 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, something like that. So even back then, their motto was "Do no evil." I said, "Pretty evil algorithm. You're the only one that wins, right? It's not win-win."
No, yeah, they're a beast. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
So, anyway, I think we should try and figure out how many shows we already have. Try and organize them around. Throw them into what would be modeled after the Blaze. Glenn Beck. He modeled that. It's all he has his subscriber base, right, and then he has his free stuff that he pushes out onto YouTube and things like that. And it's just it makes sense that we would then have a much better way of controlling the amount of views, right? Because we would be able to directly see. There wouldn't be interference coming in. Or we can and we can also do it on these other platforms, BitChute or DropSpace.
I actually read something somewhere about a quantum internet coming, which I think these are all just people that are leaking things out about what they're seeing with the KIMS, which I think is going to be which would be quantum internet with the key internet monitoring system, maybe, or the something
key
like
information.
That. Yeah, key information management system, and then I don't know, creative. I don't know. So I mean, all these things. I know Kim has 2 other systems, and I know. I mean, I suspect one of them is the internet, which I think that has to be managed. Information. I mean, it would just be information, in general. Just key information management, so that people can have private conversations about whatever.
Right. Yeah.
We shall see, man.
5 to
But I,
60.
I do feel really excited. I'm a sucker for Valentine's Day. I'm a, I always feel like some kind of magic happens then. I have great evidence. I look at my daughter and I think, that's one day where I know God answered my prayers. So I'm, I'm praying today again that, hey, I'd like to be able to give my daughter that dog in her house. We'll go from there. And hopefully get a car. Yeah. So I'm expecting good things every day. Every day. I live in a perpetual state of high hopes.
Yeah. Well, hope deferred.
Make it the heart sick.
Make it the heart sick.
Well,
So keep
desire
it.
realized is the tree of life. That's right.
Let's keep it in fulfillment now.
That's right.
We're here. Anyway, it's a good time to take the break here, so I can start my journey.
All right, cool, man. Enjoy your Valentine's Day with your lovely wife, and everybody. You have a great night. All right.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.